We start our working day at Ukraine Crisis Media Center, and now I give the floor to Colonel Oleksandr Motuzyanyk, Presidential Administration spokesman on ATO-related issues, with information about the events in the ATO area during the last 24 hours. Welcome on stage. Good afternoon, everyone. Yesterday, the situation in the ATO area deteriorated. The militants increased the number of shellings of our positions twice. 96 cases of ceasefire violations are observed during the last 24 hours, compared with 52 during the last 24 hours. The artillery was used by the enemy in all three areas, both at night and during the day. According to the estimates of the General Staff, at the line of confrontation, the militants launched more than 500 mortar mines and more than 300 artillery shells. Such intensity of fire was observed with the use of heavy weapons a year ago in August also. Now, the information about the ATO area in more detail. The Lugansk area, the main military actions were in Popasnensky region. After midnight, the enemy delivered powerful artillery and mortar shelling at our positions. And in Popasna, the militants were active late in the evening, and they used artillery. During the day, the enemy violated ceasefire, actively using grenade launchers and machine guns in the region of Bakhmutsk Highway and in Stanitsa Luganska. There, after sunset, the enemy opened fire with weapons of APCs. On the whole, during the last 24 hours in Lugansk area, there were 19 enemy shellings, including 4 with the use of artillery and 3 with the use of heavy mortars. The Donetsk area, there, the day started with powerful mortar shellings that occupant delivered in Svetlodarsk Bulge and at the part of the front line Novostelivska Druga Avdiivka. And early in the morning, the militants opened fire, mortar fire and artillery fire in the region of the Donetsk airport. The heavy shellings were in Avdiivka, and starting 10 in the morning, and they used 82 and 120 millimeter mortars, and also the enemy used artillery of 122 millimeter of caliber that is placed in Sinovata. And in other parts of front line, the enemy was active in the evening in Svetlodarska Bulge and north suburbs of Gorlovka and Novgorodska. There were mortar and artillery shelling delivered by the militants, and also in the same regions the enemy used the fire of APCs. On the whole, in the Donetsk area during the last 24 hours there were 45 enemy shellings, including 34 with the use of heavy weapons. In the Mariupol area, right after midnight, the militants for 2 hours launched 40 artillery shells of 152 mm of caliber near Granitne. Between 2 and 4 a.m. in Mariinsky region, this is part of the front line Krasnogorivka-Mariinka, there were a number of mortar shellings. And also at noon there were some firing between Ukrainian forces and the militants, and they lasted until late in the evening. And in the south of Mariupol area, the situation was tense near Talakivka, Vodyane and Shirokine. On the whole, the militants violated ceasefire on the front line. There were no calm areas in Mariupol area. On the whole, during the last 24 hours, there were 32 shellings delivered by the enemy, and in 1/3 of which with the use of heavy weapons.
The enemies continue to carry out reconnaissance among the ATO forces. The main intelligence department of the Ministry of Defense had registered activation of reconnaissance operations and activities of the reconnaissance groups near Mariupol and also in Mangushsky and Nikolsky districts in Donetsk region, which are controlled by Ukrainian power in the rear. The enemies, in particular, carry out reconnaissance along the Azov Sea, which could be reached by the paratroopers, but nevertheless we have enough ATO forces in this region to repel any provocation. During the last 24 hours, unfortunately, 3 Ukrainian servicemen were killed and 6 were wounded. We express our condolences to the families of the killed servicemen. The losses of the enemies, again, 3 killed and 3 wounded. Also, the military intelligence proves that Russia has supplied another batch of weaponry and ammunition to the temporarily occupied territories. Thus, 5 tanks T-72 arrived to Lugansk, 3 tanks T-64 arrived to Sverdlovsk, 4 trucks with fuels and oils, and 2 wagons with shells to Hartsisk. Ukrainian servicemen received the awards at the front line near Lugansk. 80 Ukrainian servicemen received the medals from the Ministry of Defense. The medals were as follows: for the military bravery, the award of respect, and for support of the military forces. Around 500 students from Sumy had military exercises in artillery. The question in the network, we can see explosions near Gorlivka, near Zaitsev, and the comment was that this was the warehouse of Ukrainian ammunition. Currently, we try to clarify this, what's going on, and to double-check this information. We will inform you as soon as possible. Thank you for your attention, and our briefing for today will be in 3 minutes. Thank you.